everybody! NaNoWriMo is officially upon us, which is basically a month where everyone gets together to write their books. But Jenna, don't writers write most months out of the year? I know, I don't get it either. But if you're participating in NaNoWriMo, you may be eager to get words on the page, and you may not know if your story is packing the punch it needs. Even if you're not into NaNoWriMo, there are tons of writers out there who consider themselves underwriters, which are basically writers who tell their stories in bare bones. They don't give enough plot, characterization, or detail, and often their stories feel undeveloped and lacking. If that's your issue, fear not, I am dishing out my 10 best tips for beefing up your word count. Remember, the goal here isn't to simply add more words to the page. If that was the case, you could simply eliminate all contractions. Please don't do that. I beg you. The goal is to add meaningful content, to improve a story that doesn't have any meat or depth. And of course, a byproduct of this will be more words on the page, so for all you nanowers, this video's for you. This is a topic I covered years ago, but at the time I only had a few tips. Now I have way more, so it felt worth covering again. Points 3 and 7 are my favorite. I think they make the biggest difference in the quality of your novel, and in true Cyborg fashion, I saved the hardest pill to swallow for last. Let's get into it. Before we get started, I wanted to say thank you so much to Novelpad for sponsoring today's video. I've been super candid in the past about how I have tried multiple novel writing softwares and I've hated all of them, except for Novelpad. Novelpad is a straightforward, easy to use software specifically for novelists. Every feature is designed to help you remember what you are doing as quickly as possible and keep you one click away from writing at all times. Novelpad also lets you track your work from as many angles as possible. You can track it based on a specific character, based on chapters, you can track it based on your plot, subplots, or even settings. One of the things I love most about Novelpad is they're constantly adding new features based specifically on user feedback. They recently added the 30-second backup system that allows you to go back and forth between any save point in your novel. They also have a fantastic goals and analytics feature. It automatically adapts to your progress, allows you to specify sprints and vacations, and it gives you live updates on your writing, which is especially vital if you are embarking on NaNoWriMo. But I'm particularly fond of the comparison feature. You can now compare any two revisions of scenes and essentially pick a winner, which is so helpful for anyone who is stuck between rewrites. That happens to me all the time. If you're interested in trying out Novelpad, I am a huge fan, and even better, in honor of NaNoWriMo, throughout the entire month of November, Novelpad will be free to use. That means you have the whole rest of the month to try out Novelpad for free, $0. I've got the link listed below. Be sure to check it out. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I post new videos on Wednesdays, and if you want to be alerted as soon as I upload, ring that bell. You totally should. You gotta be alerted when I upload. I mean, hello. You just gotta. The Savior's Champion and The Savior's Sister are my #1 best-selling dark fantasy romance adventures, and they are available all over the place. They're available in paperback, hardback, ebook, and audiobook. Pick up a copy today. I got them linked below. And now I'm diving into my 10 best tips for increasing your word count in a way that'll both add words to the page and also enhance the quality of your novel. Number 1, show, don't tell. More often than not, this is the main issue underwriters have. They are telling everything and showing absolutely nothing. Say a character is going to the store and they're in a really bad mood. If you wanted to tell the reader this, you could simply say, he went to the store. He was in a bad mood. If you wanted to show the reader this, you could instead say, the rickety shop door flung open and he trudged through, grumbling under his breath as the bell jingled behind him. The first option, the tell, is short and to the point, which is fine in certain situations, for example, transitions. But the second option, the show, is far more dynamic. So instead of simply telling the reader they were best friends, show them behaving as best friends. Instead of telling the reader she was beautiful, describe what makes her beautiful. If a moment matters to the story, and many do, you want to show it. You want to evoke emotions and create visuals for the reader, and as a byproduct of this, you will be adding more words to your page. Number 2, structure. A lot of novels feel too short because they are literally too short. They don't hit all the points of a standard plot structure because a lot of writers don't know shit about structure. How do you not know shit about structure? At a bare minimum, all plots have an inciting incident, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. There's a good chance your book is too short because you've missed one of the pivotal parts of storytelling. Maybe you go straight from the inciting incident to the climax with zero rising action. And of course, most structures are far more in-depth than the one I listed before. If you want more information on how to structure a novel, I have some videos linked below. But go through your story and make sure you have covered every key plot point necessary for a novel. If not, it's time to go back to the drawing board. Number 3, character profiles. One of the most aggravating parts of reading is slogging through a story with one-dimensional characters. Many people get into stories because of the characters. They want personality and depth. They want people they can root for and relate to. What are your characters' strengths and weaknesses? What are their goals? What are their insecurities? You need a well-rounded view of them in order to write them in a believable manner. And the better you know your character, the more content you can provide, which means more words. Do your due diligence and get to know the voice you're writing through, otherwise your characters are going to feel really flat. On a related note, number 4, descriptions. It's really annoying to read a book without descriptions. Some descriptions aren't necessary. I don't need to know how many buttons are on your character's shirt. I don't need to know the exact square footage of their house. But for the love of God, can you at least describe what the character looks like? At a bare minimum, we need their general body type, their hair color, their eye color, and their skin color. Describe to me what the character looks like or else I can't visualize them. Similarly, describe to me what the setting looks like or else I can't visualize that either. But Jenna, I want readers to use their imagination. If they wanted to completely invent their own characters and world, they can write their own fucking book. Do your damn job and describe what you created. You don't gotta get into minute detail, just give them enough information so they can follow along, you lazy piece of shit. Number 5, setting the scene. I hesitate to say this because world builder's disease is a real problem that claims the lives of thousands of hopeful writers each day. But it must be said. If you're writing a book that takes place in a different world or different era, then world building is a necessary facet that will help ground the readers in the story, and it'll help boost your word count. But by world building, I specifically mean as it pertains to setting the scene. Your characters have entered a new location that readers are unfamiliar with. It's time to describe this location so you can ground your readers in the scene. This is a vital part of world building without delving into info dumping. You're providing information that helps with the progression of the story, not jerking yourself off for being the creative genius you are. We get it, you're sad and alone. When setting the scene, you're showing the readers where the character is, for example, a dense, muggy forest. When they're there, for example, a misty winter morning. How the character is feeling, maybe tired, groggy, and afraid. And why this matters. Maybe the character has been hunting for a beast for weeks and still hasn't found it. This is a great way to increase your word count without overwhelming the reader with unnecessary nonsense. Number 6, subplots. Subplots add layers to a story that help make the characters, particularly their relationships, more realistic. This is because subplots often revolve around relationships. If you are writing a sci-fi adventure, maybe you have a romantic subplot, maybe you have a sibling rivalry subplot. So ask yourself, are there character dynamics you could explore? Are there conflicts and stakes that haven't yet been brought to the surface? These are great opportunities to include subplots and thus add words to your book. Now, it's important to consider that subplots should have a link to the main plot. For example, if your book is about a lost princess fighting to reclaim her crown, maybe the romantic subplot involves a mercenary that she hired to help her fight for her legacy. In this case, both the princess and the mercenary are involved in the main plot, but now you can explore the romantic tension, which adds some layers and juiciness and awesomeness. Number 7, pacing. Typically, novels that need beefing up have a huge problem with pacing. Every scene reads as fast-paced because they are raced through without any detail. There are plenty of scenes that should be slower, particularly scenes that are heavy in emotion like vulnerability, connection, grief, or romance. These are the sort of scenes where you need to go into heavier detail, and if you're not sure where to start, think about the five senses: sight, touch, taste, scent, and sound. If they are relevant to the scene, describe them in lush detail. Get inside your body. Describe the racing of the character's heartbeat right before their first kiss, or the lump in their throat when they've learned that their father is in danger. This will go a long way in improving the quality of your novel and increasing your word count. Number 8. Clarity. Spoon-feeding your readers is never the answer. However, if multiple people tell you that something in your novel is glossed over, it's time to elaborate. Whip out the words and make that shit clear. I know you think it makes perfect sense, but keep in mind, you wrote it. You know all the things. Unfortunately, this is a point that's going to require feedback, but usually if a lot of people are telling you that something in your novel doesn't make sense, it's probably because you didn't give it the proper wordage it needs. Add some explanation and keep it moving. Which brings us to number 9, solicit feedback. A critique partner is a fellow writer who goes through your manuscript, leaving comments and edits within the document itself based on your storytelling and writing. A beta reader is someone who reads your manuscript from the reader's perspective and lets you know its entertainment value and what they liked and disliked. These people will tell you if your work is lacking, and they should tell you how. And if they don't tell you how, ask them. It's that simple. Look, writing a book is hard, especially considering the fact that it's a solitary task. So if you can enlist friends to help you along the way, do it. Gather feedback, gather critiques, and see where the common consensus lies. From that point forward, you will have a much better idea of how to strengthen your novel. And number 10, don't. As in, don't increase your word count. Hear me out. If you are increasing your word count because the story is shallow, the characters are one-dimensional, the content is lacking, and the quality is subpar, absolutely add words to the page. But if you are increasing your word count simply to hit some arbitrary goal, to win NaNoWriMo, or to consider yourself a real writer, back away from the keyboard. There is no number of words you have to write to be a real writer. A writer is someone who writes. Period. Additionally, novels come in all lengths. You don't have to write 100,000 words for it to be considered a serious novel. In fact, in many genres, that's way too long. A book qualifies as a novel if it has at least 40,000 words. That's it. And if your story is great as is, but it's less than 40,000 words, maybe it's a novella or a novelette. Again, if your book needs words, add them. Just be honest about whether or not that's the case. So that's all I got for you today. A huge thank you to Novelpad for sponsoring today's video, and thank you so much for making Novelpad free for the entire month of November in honor of NaNoWriMo. Click the link below, check them out. They are an amazing platform. You will love them, and right now they're free. It doesn't get much better than that. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I post new videos on Wednesdays, and if you want to be alerted as soon as I upload, ring that bell. The Savior's Champion and The Savior's Sister are available in ebook, paperback, hardback, and audiobook. Definitely check them out right now. They're available at all major retailers. I got them linked below. And be sure to follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook, and BookBub. And of course, you can tweet me at Jenna Moreci. Bye!
Hey everyone, I'm Emma Tigan, narrator for The Savior's Sister, written by Jenna Moreci. If you enjoy her channel and want to hear more writing advice and updates about her books, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell. That way you'll know as soon as her content goes live.